All right, hey guys, it's Greg Jones for Engine Builders. We are at the 2023 PRI Show, and we are doing a intellectual horsepower episode today with the folks at Hylift Johnson Lifters. So we got Dave Popp down here of Topline, Hylift Johnson. We've got Bobby Wood of Wood Performance and Tyler Crockett of Tyler Crockett Marine Engines. And we're going to be talking lifters today. So excited to have you guys all here. You know, someone off camera just made a comment. We got 150 years of experience between everybody sitting up here today.
Yeah,
so
hard way.
I'm sure we're going to be sharing a lot of great knowledge on lifters.
Yep.
And Dave, I wanted to kick it off with you. Just give a little update about Hylift Johnson and Topline, and how the year's been and what you guys got going on.
Actually, the year's been phenomenal. We've been in business now 87 years from the original start of Johnson Products. And things are going well. New products are coming on the line. A lot more into the high performance area that we're expanding into.
Yeah.
Of course, there's always dilemmas in there with people wanting product as soon as possible, but we're branching into more OEM as well. But all in all, there's no complaints. We're doing really well and expanding and growing. So we're happy.
Awesome. Yeah, that's all I can ask for.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. And Bobby, again, you've got a lot of experience in this industry, but maybe some folks might not be familiar with your shop. Tell us a little bit about what you guys specialize in.
Well, we started out racing back in 1959. I set an NHRA national record drag racing. Set another fuel funny car record in 1969. But all my life was just in search of, looking for something to make a little more horsepower and get you there quicker.
Yeah, yeah.
And we'll go into the lifters in a little bit.
Very good. Tyler, you and I have done a number of things over the years with Engine Builder magazine, but again, for the folks that might not know about your shop, tell them a little bit about it.
We build offshore marine engines. We specialize in doing high performance engines for pleasure boat customers, and we also build offshore race engines for a lot of teams on the national circuit. So we get to try and test a lot of different things, and if we can make them live in the race world, we can make them live in the pleasure boat world.
Right, absolutely. All right. So guys, like I said, the topic today is lifters, and it's something that you guys at Hylift Johnson specialize in. But let's start with some of the different styles of lifters out there, because there's not just a one-size-fits-all type of thing. There's some variability.
We offer 300 different part numbers, and everything ranges from early mechanical adjusters, all the way up to new to little lash adjusters that would be in the rocker arms or in the head. There's mechanicals, hydraulics, mushrooms, flats, rollers, chilled iron, hardenable iron. We used to get into some of the powdered metal products, but we don't really, there isn't enough market for the volume that we would need to produce those. We also get into the racing, the link bars for retrofit of older engines to the newer technology, and a lot of the commercial, off-road, heavy-duty industrial equipment as well.
Yeah.
So there's a wide range, and we make basically all of them.
Yeah. So Dave, you were just saying you guys got over 300 part numbers, but I'm sure that there's a few different types of lifters that kind of rise to the top in terms of popularity.
The most popular is the OEM replacement, the flat hydraulic lifters that GM produced in the 350 Chevy that are still going strong. We still make millions of those a year. Mechanical units for the same small block Chevy for the racing guys.
Yeah.
And then the newer ones from 84 and up, the rollers for Ford, Chrysler, the big three, the drop-in replacements, and then we go into all the performance versions of those parts for people that want to upgrade into a higher performance application.
Yeah, excellent. And Bobby, with the types of engines that you're building at your shop, what are some of the more popular, commonly used lifters that you will gravitate towards?
Well, we got out of the automotive end of the racing industry back 30 years ago, and I got involved with Andrews Products. I got them to develop some camshafts for us for the Harley engines, twin cams. Milwaukee's was there at the time. But initially, just about on any camshaft, you have to have a lifter for it. And all of a sudden, once we got using the high lift camshafts and lifters were failing, problem after problem after problem, I went to like 3 or 4 different suppliers on lifters, could never fix it. And the problem was really not so much the lifter that the customers, how they're installing them. But so anyway, so after many, many years of experiment with lifters, I finally got with Topline up here, and I went to them. I said, listen, all the lifters of the needle bearings were failing. And I said, it took me a long time to talk him into it, but 2.5 years later, he developed this new lifter where we don't need any needle bearings whatsoever. It's got a bearing, a special bearing in there that's separated it.
Yeah.
And now at least when a customer goes to adjust his push rods and he gets it out of adjustment, he's not going to kill the lifter, just bouncing up and down on the camshaft. So basically that, we've had that out for now almost 2 years now, and I just can't get him to make enough of them.
Yeah.
So maybe this will pop him up a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the, I mean, it's a great product. That's all we do now is design Harley camshaft and lifters. That's it.
Yeah. Excellent.
He worked with me through the good times and the hard times. We got him dialed in, and hallelujah.
Yeah. Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And Tyler, you're in the marine world, which is a little bit different, similar,
Right.
but very different in terms of how you guys put together engines. So, for what you're doing, what style of lifters are you commonly working with?
We're using all the hydraulic roller lifters in all our. We used to have to, years ago, we used to have to use a solid lifter camshaft to get any horsepower in the motor. So now with the good lifters out now, we can make good power with a hydraulic roller. Plus our customers, a lot of them I say were pleasure boaters, and with a solid lift cam, none of them know how to even change their own oil, let alone lash their valves. So now with the hydraulic roller lifters, now we can make them live, make plenty of power, and saved us all a lot of work.
Yeah, very good. So guys, I want to start with maybe some of the problem areas of lifters. What are some of those commonly seen failures or maybe commonly seen mistakes that guys might make that you guys at Hylift Johnson are constantly working to improve and correct, and you guys are trying to help educate folks to make sure that their engines are living and those lifters aren't failing. Kind of open question to whoever wants to go first there. But
the number one thing that every installer should know is cleanliness. That is 99.9% of the lifter failures that we get concerned about in returns. We take apart the lifters and they're full of debris, and the tolerance of the lifter is the most critical part in the whole engine. It's the highest tolerance that there is, and any small amount of debris will jam that up and wreak havoc. A lot of the new people that are rebuilding engines go through the shot blasting process, which is a great process, but they don't take into account, they don't want to pull all the galley plugs or scrub the block afterwards, and it's amazing. It doesn't take much. The clearance between on a hydraulic lifter especially, the clearance between the inner piston and the body wall is down to 1/10 of the human hair. So it doesn't take much to jam that wall up and cause problems. And the customer always thinks that it's a product problem, but we take it apart and clean it, and you can see all the debris. We don't put the debris in there, and you put it back together again, they work fine.
Yeah.
So the main thing is cleanliness. It's number one. I can't stress it more.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that about pretty much anywhere in the engine,
anything.
right?
So, you wouldn't want to go to a restaurant that's serving dirty dishes. So it's the same thing.
Right. Yeah. Guys, anything from your end that?
What we find out in the field, my job is to educate my customers and to keep it simple. The biggest problem we've had that led to a lot of the lifter failures is the fact that they're not adjusting the push rods right for the load on the lifters. And the classic example, it's a V45 engine, so therefore it's going to be separate timing issues in there. But the customers get confused on where's the base circle of the camshaft. So I got a short procedure. I said, listen, the intake lifters are closest to the jug. And they say, right. I said, good. Watch the lifter come up, intake lifter come up, and go down. When it goes down, go around there, put your screwdriver, whatever, top, and bring the piston top to the center and adjust it. And we'll run them like 130 to 140 thousandths down. But the problem is they'll do that front cylinder, then they think the next cylinder obviously is 720 degrees, and so every 360 one's going to be at top dead center. But that's not right on the Harley engine because it's 45. When the rear cylinder fires, it's 405 crankshaft degrees until the front cylinder fires, and 315 degrees. So that's how we get before the rear fires. So I do that simple procedures, go to the front cylinder, intake, do that. If it's a 24 pitch push rod, you go 3.5 turns down there. So my job is to make sure they get it right, because it's just a little bit different than a regular engine, and the difference in the fire order in that respect. So that's our biggest problem, is to educate these people so that they can go in and adjust them. And we go through the tuning issue, and thank God that's what was killing the lifters. I mentioned earlier about the needle bearings. They would get them out of adjustment and just pound the needle bearings to death. And I finally convinced this guy to make them for me. So that's how that happened.
Yeah, very good. Tyler, how about for you? You know, what are some of those common things that, you know, maybe fail from a lifter standpoint, or just, you know, things that guys?
I would say basically, like Dave said, dirt and debris in there, and if they hurt something else in the motor, that all goes through the motor. And a lot of people, if they do blow up an engine, they don't change their oil cooler. On a marine engine, they're all oil cooled, so they don't change the oil cooler. They think they can just flush it out, and there's too many little tubes and spots you can't clean out, and that debris comes back and bites them later.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll make a comment on what he brought about that oil deal. The biggest problem we have in this industry is the oil tip on these motors. I'm a pilot. 240 degrees, you better be parked on a ramp. These Harley engines are running 250 to 300 degrees on their oil tip. And they've got the oil coolers on the bikes that's right in front of the big old tire front there. And it's the biggest problem we have with that is they'll get out there and they're killing the engine. So I sit down and spend a long time to get the Jag vertical rotating oil coolers and keep their oil tip down below 215 degrees. That's our biggest enemy out there for lifter life, and the rest of the engine for that matter is 250 to 300 degrees of oil tip. That's a death sentence.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave, I want to come back to you. You know, again, you were talking about all those different part numbers and the different styles of lifters that are out there. What kind of dictates, you know, what lifter is being used in an engine or an application, or what could be used in that application?
Well, some of the engines you can't change. You have to put in exactly what the OEM of Ford flathead motors. I guess there might be some very limited aftermarket performance parts for those, but some of the early 30s, 40s vintage Chevy engines, there's only, you know, one of our part numbers. That's all that fits in there, and that's it. After that, it depends on what the customer wants. If he's just looking for an OEM, you know, restoration job, then we put the OEM part in there. People start looking for higher performance, some better fuel economy. Then there's a range of parts that could go in after that. There's also racing applications where different classes require vacuum limits and things like that. We can modify, or we offer different versions of flat, what we call fast or slow leak down rates. That will still pull the correct vacuum, but then at the higher RPM, the person still develops almost the same horsepower as if it was a mechanical lifter. So there's a whole range and so many different aspects of the puzzle that has to get brought together before the correct lifter is chosen.
Now, Bobby, I'll come back to you. You were talking about needle bearing lifters. Is that commonly what you guys are using, or are there other style of lifters that you
No, we
like?
switched around a year ago.
Okay.
A year ago. We got warnings. It tells who, what, why, when, and where, what to do and what not to do.
There you go.
And that's our biggest enemy out there, but it's not an enemy, but you got to educate the guy. But it's, besides what we do and how to adjust from this, that, and other, you still have to go over how much you weigh, where do you live, how do you ride the bike, like you stole it, bar hopping, 2 up in the mountains, back roads. We try to get a photograph of what it's going to take to make that guy happy. And generally, we give him the combination. And I designed all the camshafts for Harley Davidson, so we got like 106 different grinds. About 30 of them for the, not more than about 40 of them for the Milwaukee and the twin cam engines. And that I have to look again at where you live, how much you weigh, what's your compression ratio, what size throttle body. So my job is to go in there and guide them. And I'll take calls. I don't care if it's just a tech call or a seller cam or not. We listen to the people, And we got like probably 300 dyno runs from across America that our customers send in, and we refer them to there when they want to know what the engine's doing and how it's working, and we educate them, and that way they can tell their friends, and it just grows like that. Because most people won't take the time to go into stuff like this with somebody on the phone, and I don't care if they don't buy anything, but they know how to adjust it. So that's what this is. Read it, guys, when y'all get it. Read it.
Yeah, you want to know what you're doing, otherwise a lot can go wrong.
You not believe, but look, they're in what I call in search of. They didn't call me because they want to talk to me. They want to get their bike so they can get out there and roll down the road without losing the lifter or the camshaft for that matter. You lose the lifter, you lose the cam.
Yeah. And Tyler, you were talking about using a lot of hydraulic lifters, correct?
Yes.
So you want to talk again, just expand on how those differ from some of the other styles and the reasons that you're using those.
Yeah, they make the two different style hydraulic rollers for the big block. They have the tie bar version, the tie bar on there, and then they got the drop-in ones where you use factory dog bones, and we like using those in most of all our stuff, but the biggest problem is when you sell a customer the tie bar ones, it's real easy to flip them over and you can put them in. They'll still go in the bores, but the wheel will actually run on a slight angle and they'll end up wiping out the camshaft or something.
Yeah.
We've had several engines come in our shop where people have put the tie bar in, flipped them upside down, and most of them have an arrow that go up.
We have an arrow going up.
People don't pay attention to the arrow, and sometimes they get lucky. They had 8 of them in, right? But it still wipes out the engine, over something as simple as that.
Right.
They just don't pay attention. So we try to make it foolproof with the drop-ins.
Yeah. Very good. Dave, I'm going to come back to you. What are some of those frequently asked questions? You mentioned just cleanliness being one of the biggest issues that can't be stressed enough. But what are some of those other things that guys are commonly calling and asking about, or just you can't tell them enough because it just kind of keeps coming back and back?
Most is there's a lot of questions on preload. How much preload do we put in a hydraulic lifter? And the lifter itself doesn't really care. We just need to get it off the retaining clip, but it depends on the engine. When you're talking about a Harley that's aluminum block, aluminum jug, aluminum head, the growth on that you have to take into account, and that's what a hydraulic lifter does. It adapts as things get warmer.
Right.
A cast iron Chevy engine with cast iron heads, you might only need 20 thou of preload is more than enough. But with the Harleys, you could get in up over 100 thou of preload. And just because you got that so much growth of the engine and going through with that's a big thing. And then whether or not you want a fast leak down lifter or a slow leak down lifter. A slow leak down lifter I recommend for everything other than any kind of class where they have to pull a vacuum at idle. That's the only real reason you need that, unless someone gave you a camshaft that's too big for your motor. And again, the fast leak down lifter will actually make the engine idle a little bit better for the guys going around the street.
Yeah. Guys, anything to add there, kind of about that preload topic there?
Well, on the Harleys, it's real critical. We run them at least 140 to 150 thousandths down because the engines do grow as they go along. Other than that, on lifters, if they do that right, take the time to do it right, we go over engine oil, compression ratios, throttle body sizes, pipes. That's another big, on the Harleys, a lot of guys run the short pipes and it kills the bottom end torque. That's all the air and fuel run over the intake, out the exhaust and out the back. So I spend a lot of time talking about the exhaust, 2-into-1 exhaust, the back pressure, how important it is, and it takes you a while. You'll be 10 or 15 minutes on the line with a customer just to get him going in a good sense of direction so that the next time you see him, he'll tell you how happy he is. That's what it's all about, making everybody happy.
Yeah. Tyler, anything else on your end?
Well, we pay attention to the preload real close too. With the marine engines, a lot of them, we run them, some motors will run at 150 degrees water temperature, and some of them we run really cool, like at 100 degrees water temperature. So it all depends on what the motor is. Some of the high horsepower stuff, we try to run them as cold as we can because we can keep the combustion chamber cooler, which makes more horsepower and safer from detonation. So got to do everything we can to keep these pleasure boaters from breaking them. But that's we got to pay attention to the engine combination, how much is going to grow. The aluminum head, if they're going to run hotter versus colder.
Right.
We have to pay attention to that.
There's another thing for your customers that need to know about, and that's the tuners. They've got, it's like life, they've got very complicated. You'll take Dynajet, they're the leader in this country for power candidates, power provision, but the problem is the computers and the motorcycles are so cantankerous and hard, they can't do anything. If you don't know power vision and have a dyno and know how to properly tune it, you got a luck. So all I can tell is anybody in the motorcycle industry, you need to get to a Dynajet Tuning Link Center, because putting a camshaft in there and bolting it in and riding off in the sun don't work no more. And the customer can't make the changes this week.
Yeah.
That's the most important.
Yeah. Now, obviously, across the board here, you know, we're trying to make better products and have guys get better performance, and you guys are trying to have engines that, you know, are durable and last. But obviously, things go wrong. You know, what are some of the horror stories you guys have seen or heard? You know, what kind of stands out, you know, lifter-wise, I guess?
Well, there's some lifters sitting up there. A guy ran out of oil. I didn't ever put any oil in it.
Oh, geez.
But however, he ran 300 miles on those new platinum lifters that we have.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem we have is
The bearing still didn't blow up.
Yeah, it didn't blow up.
Wow.
It still held
And,
together, which would have been catastrophic if that happened.
The lifters that we developed, Dave and I together, this is how in depth we go into lifters.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of anal about it. The new lifters we got, they're developed by Hylift. We did it 40.5 hours using a 678 lift cam. It's 800 pounds of seat pressure. I mean, there's open pressure on there. The lifter load ran it for 800 pounds for each cycle. It lifted 2,916,000 pounds over 40.5 hours. I sent them back to the factory engineers, and they were 0.0000 wear.
Wow.
That's unheard of in the motorcycle industry.
Yeah.
That's it. That's right. And actually, the lifter cycled 3,615 times. That's a lot of up and down.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
That's all I can say. We go to the end of the world. There's never any such thing as being perfect, and we're always searching in search of something better for the customer.
Yeah. I mean, it's sometimes incredible that engines work and live, and you know, with how much, like you said, how much they're going up and down and doing this and that.
People don't have any idea what a lifter goes. I'm glad I'm not one. Okay.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Tyler, you were just saying a second ago, you know, you guys are constantly trying to make sure that, you know, your boaters and customers aren't breaking lifters and breaking things in the camshaft. You know, what are some of the things you've seen?
Our biggest thing, like I say, we've seen where they flip the tie bar upside down and they wipe the cant lifters out that way, but now Dave's making the eliminating the needle bearings in the bottom and using the new wheel design there and everything. It's that's even going to make the lifter even better for us.
Yeah.
But they were good before, and now they're going to be even better.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Dave, obviously, the topic of lifters, we can probably go on and on and on, but you know, let me know if there's anything else, you know, kind of crucial for guys to know that we haven't quite touched on.
You know, the only other problem that we see a lot of, and I don't know if you want to get involved with this, is the forgeries out there. You know, with the eBay and the internet and all this stuff.
Big problem.
I have
that's
three
important.
55-gallon drums full of not our part.
Yeah.
People buy, you know, looking for the American made, which were the last ones doing it here, and we take a lot of pride into that. And people buy and look and request our product for that, and in good faith, they think that they're getting our product. Especially, you know, the material is so critical on a flat lifter, and they call me up irate. We had one guy, $100,000 restoration, and the engine blew up within miles, and he requested our product from the vendor, and you know, he thought he got it, so he called me up screaming, and I didn't blame him, and he showed me pictures of the product. They weren't our product.
Wow.
You know, it was really sad, and you know, he didn't know what to do, but we get so much of it. There's a lot of, you know, just forgeries and stuff. People send us product, they're in nicer boxes, and the parts look nicer than ours, but they're just made out of the wrong material, and they're just not our stuff. And it's hard for me to tell them. The customer doesn't want to accept that, and you ask them where they buy it from, and 99% of the time it's from eBay. And they said, they're the original lifter, brand. And it's sad, but it's not true.
So I guess what's the number one way that folks can kind of protect themselves from that? Just making sure they're shopping directly from you guys, or
a reputable buyer,
distributor.
We work a lot through distribution.
Yeah.
We don't really sell to the individual. We sell pallets at a time. We got our load going out right now, which is 1,400,000 pieces going out this month, and so I don't have the capability of shipping one set of lifters to somebody.
Right.
Topline does on some things, but most of the times they'll guide you into a direction of a wholesaler that we deal with, or direct replacement. Like Bobby would be one of them. I won't sell Bobby's parts to someone direct. I just come to call Bobby and get them from him.
Right.
That's the big thing. It's just like GM. You don't go to GM, you go to a dealer for that. But you want to go to a reputable dealer.
Right.
You just don't want to. Sometimes if it's too good to be true, it usually is. And a set of our lifters on eBay for $9.95, including free shipping, it doesn't work out. They end up on my desk, and I just shake my head, and I feel sorry for the person installing them.
Sure.
Because usually the customer is not the one that, of course he wants to save $1 or $2, but if he knew he wasn't getting the right parts and preventing an engine like this $100,000 rebuild, that guy would have spent another $500,000 to get the right parts, so he didn't have to yank that engine back apart again.
Yeah.
It's after the price is done, the only thing anyone remembers is the quality at the end, and that's the whole thing. Just to be cautious of what and where you buy from.
No, that's
it's
well
sad,
said.
but that's what's coming.
Yeah. No, that's well said, and like you said, folks are out there looking for a deal, and most of the time it's too good to be true. It is.
Usually
Build their motor off of eBay. Anything cheap isn't good, and anything good isn't cheap.
Absolutely. Well, guys, on that note, I think we'll wrap up this episode. But again, I really want to thank you, Dave. Thank you very much, and everyone at Topline, Hylift Johnson, Bobby, you and everyone at Wood Performance, and Tyler, you guys all there at Tyler Crockett Marine Engines. Again, appreciate the time, guys.
Thank you.
Guys, we appreciate you all watching this episode of Intellectual Horsepower. Obviously, we got through a decent amount of info on lifters, but if you guys do have questions, make sure you're leaving that stuff in the comments, and we'll make sure to pass that stuff on to these guys and get you answers. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.